I'm Robert Sterling Price, and I am building the futurist, functionless public and private starship industry. What do I consider the definitions of public and private? The public, my definition of the public part is that I build a starship, and it is so extremely valuable, like trillions and trillions of dollars, that you can't just put this money, this debt, or this value on like the debt of the nations, all right? So we create an IPO, or someone creates an IPO, and they buy a starship that is equivalent to like trillions of dollars, all right? The IPO basically pays the starship industry rent, okay? The reason why we do this is because we have hindsight, especially looking at the debt of the United States of America here, and we don't want to put a starship that they would possibly buy on all of our heads. You know, it's not working out. The government's wasting money. The government's never really ever going to pay that debt back. And so this is where we take all major starships to an IPO, a public offering, all right? There's a lot of debt, but there's a little reality that you can make over $1 million a day moving satellites to other Earth-like worlds and transporting people or things back and forth or whatever. So that starship is going to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of its life, as long as it doesn't teleport any of the metal out of the engine or anything like that. But you know, and so that's basically the understanding of the public definition. I mean, it's about as best I can describe it. The public is not the government. It's going to be an IPO on the stock exchange that'll rent this starship and pay money on it, and just like rent. I'll sit down here before I fall off. This is Gallinipper and the Sac Osage, or Osage River, and the city of Osceola over there. I'm gonna find a safe place to sit down. All right, what is the private definition of basically, the starship industry privately designs and builds a starship, and this is used for the general public. If you have enough money, or if you have a willingness to go out there as a privateer or something, and that the governments of the world are seldomly involved in the starship industry. If we build a military starship, we don't want the money, the debt, to go on the nations of the world. So you create IPOs, or you create a company and you build it. And so if we have like a military-like starship, we don't give it to the United States military. Right? We allow other nations' militaries, like AKA Special Forces, and they go on there and they conduct operations for a while, then they get switched out. But the IPO, or the privateer person, you know, they run their own starship. Or the company runs the starship. And that's basically just the understanding of the futurist, functionless, public and private starship industries. It's all public. We don't basically we manage the government's disappointment doing this. The United States government. See, I'm Robert Sherman Price, who cussed out the CIA and collapsed the Soviet Union as a little boy and made it the lone superpower on the face of the earth. Then me, through the CIA, started the entire technological revolution, in which I felt the Spirit of God to get the Soviet Union out of the way, because I didn't want American people to become evil with the technological revolution, which they really haven't been, but they kind of are, because they fall away from God and all that stuff. But that goes into extremely deep explanation. But now that I have a brand new revolution going on, other than the technological revolution, which was stolen from me by the liberal global criminal empire pretty much, and is separated from the Spirit of God, which was an exponential subatomic revolution. I mean, exponential technological revolution. Before my relationship with God gave me an exponential subatomic revolution to try to get up and started. So now, starting this $3 trillion IPO, we got discovery of the base world matter, which is the backbone of FTL travel, all extraterrestrial forms of transit communication. The base world matter, again, is highly transparent, structured, inert, non-particle matter. All right, when you crush the space fabric, the entire space fabric, you crush it, it turns bright red. Basically what is happening is the denser structures of the space fabric are taking up the force load of the much larger masses, crushing it, all right, and it turns bright red. It cannot decay for that instant into teleportation forces until much more force is applied. Yellow is always a sign of teleportation forces. Also looking for mushrooms out here. Anyway, so that is bright yellow. When high energy non-particle matter, which is ultra bright white, is energized. When you energize the base world matter and is bright white, it becomes bright white. It will then emit forces of non-particle matter, or structures of non-particle matter, that will go through the space fabric, and it will be bright yellow, and that's a teleportation force going through the base world matter. All right. Now they also can decay in various colors and alien communications. You rip apart the space fabric, and they're just basically what they are, and you've got to digitize this to the trillion scale of subatomic particle, and create an image. You got to have supercomputers really roaring and really catching every force in multiple ways. Okay, so let's continue. When you vacuum the space fabric, it's bright blue. You're pulling on the ultralight non-particle matter, since you got a high energy state, and you devoid the vortices, or the pore spaces in the space fabric, and it turns bright blue. And this is what planet Earth is doing. It's taking in the ultralight non-particle matter, creating an effect known as gravity, and causing the blue sky to appear. It's not really the oceans. The oceans is seemingly a teleportation, a layer of mass that does hold a lot of non-particle matter in it. But now we can take an engineered piece of metal or plastic, energize the base world matter in it, eject it out, exfoliate it, space fabric, basically what it's called. Exfoliate it into a hard mass. And we can put pressure on that water and send the base world matter out of that. And then we can manipulate it. We can either void the space fabric, we can either densify the space fabric. We do a lot of stuff. So the UFO video around the moon, the original UFO video of these vehicles going around the moon, they literally liquefied the space fabric. Some people say there might have been 2,000 feet across, or I mean several miles. I'm not really sure, I can't remember, but when they transited the moon, these vehicles went across the moon, they liquefied the space fabric before they started getting redacted by the CIA. And the CIA does this. There's over 100 programs on any computer, and in pretty much every computer, that are monitored and controlled by the CIA. They can watch every single thing you do, and every single thing that's on your hard drive. And a RIP-based supercomputer, which sits there connected, biologically connected to me, can literally rip apart the space fabric and spy on other computers while they're off. You don't need them on. Just got to get to that subatomic level of data to put it together. But okay. So go on. So you densify the space fabric, it's bright red. You vacuum it, it's bright blue. You energize it, it's bright white. And you teleport it, it's usually bright yellow. And then it decays, and orange and red and various other shades. I'm just tired. So what do we do? I am going to start a Starship industry, an IPO, that'll probably take in $3 trillion initially to get going. And we're going to have people design and build hard mass components with hard mass teleportation machine systems or molecular movers. They'll separate the atoms, let the base world matter flow through them in thicker form, and basically we will auto-energize the base world matter. And we will have hard mass particle crashers embedded in that metal, hard mass injectors, computer structure space fabric, ejectors and controllers, and all that stuff we need to stabilize the base world matter coming out of a piece of metal or plastic, whatever. We will be doing that to a magnitude. Start out like 10,000 machinists, atomic level machinists, and go to 1 million worldwide. And so we're going to try to make $2 trillion a day, while we'll have a production line of 100 to 300 million miniaturized starships a day coming off the production line. So the main production of the IPO, its sole goal is to start building a baseline economy. That means every single human over the age of 18 gets a miniaturized starship and access to the exponential freedom of mankind. And we also throw in a hard mass particle reactor. This allows that human to fly from this Earth 100 trillion times the speed of light and go to another galaxy or planet in the known universe. So that's the bottom line of the IPO, this production of miniaturized starship for its own basically exponential economic base. The IPO then builds like colony cities. We take a big gigantic block of metal, all right, not a block, basically a big gigantic metal box, 60 foot long on an axis, big, huge. We have hard mass LEDs, hard mass energizers, stabilizers. We put this metal box 60 foot on one axis, and it goes into like a tunnel, concrete tunnel, steel tunnel, and this creates a city grid platform like the streets, 16 plus foot across. Then we take buildings and take building modules, and we stick on this grid like structure, and basically we make a flying city. Now this city is special. In order to be a mayor of the city, you have to be a colonist and you have to know how to run the city. All right. So the colonists get organized. They get trained for 5 years, probably in like Kansas City, Kansas. Out in Kansas where it's flat, we have these hard mass levitated carryalls, and 1,000-foot, big as an aircraft carrier, just a big old sheet of metal with 4 levitators and a conning tower on one of the sides. This is called a hard mass levitated carryall, one of the big ones, and it takes from the fabricator this city building block. It's basically just like something that you see at an aircraft carrier, but it's the building. It takes these modules and puts them on this levitating seating platform after we get it all levitated into its production. And we have people flying tractor trailer, levitating forklifts, levitating air conditioners, computer structure, space fabric, shield emitters. Basically, we may have to put hard mass cannons around some of these production facilities to either shoot a shield shot of hard mass or project a weapon projection, because the Empire. So, another story, there's a UFO movie, and a Canadian spied on NASA's signal. No, when the space shuttle was flying, not recently. And it shows like an energy shot going by the International Space Station. It's on a UFO documentary a long time ago. So now we know that the alien empire has what some admiral called well, I can't exactly remember what he actually said, but it's basically a war that is unregulated or So basically, there's a bunch of military assets and extraterrestrials with guns and extraterrestrial mines and an understanding extraterrestrial military conflict out there. So there's that level of the worry that the alien empire could say you're not allowed to have non-particle matter densified hard mass, which is by far the only thing that can threaten the alien empire. The alien empire, Johnson Gray said, ancient Hebraic writers, you can understand that, who gives a shit, said there are straight lines in the sky. A long time ago, they wrote that down. So we're going off of everything we got. So basically, the first time we used the Rip Base Radar telescope to catch UFOs, we seen an extraterrestrial encapsulated star. It had a red contrail shooting off to inch to foot at a time. It opens up, it cools off. It's bright yellow, has no corona or like solar wind, we can tell, because we're using a Rip Base Radar supercomputer and Rip Base Radar lens for the first time, and we cannot see that. I don't know if it's there, I don't know, but this thing closed up, shoots a red jetted, it's 5 red jetted streams come out of this, and it shoots off a little bit. So it's just moving the star incrementally by incrementally. And then we looked over to this big, massive ship. It's so big that the Rip Base Radar supercomputer running its first time at full kilter can't rip apart the entire space fabric. And as soon as we rip apart enough space fabric, and see this giant probably 4 high times 20 long, gigantic starship, no conning tower, kind of like a Star Wars destroyer. This gigantic ship materializes and smacks this starship, and the space fabric itself grows off the shrapnel. This is the main alien empire. Either destroying itself, like if there's 10 alien nations that have these things and destroy 3 of themselves, and they're the alien nation, the beast in the the Bible, possibly, where the real Antichrist will emerge out of that. But, see, what we're doing is building the miniaturized starship to create the real innumerable Christendom of people, the fulfillment of the Abrahamic covenant. So we have a short time, but a long time to go, or whatever you want to say. We got a long time for that, or we have a really short time because we got to really, really fucking hurry. So the reason why getting the pedophiles exposed and the elites exposed is because we can't have that on our back when we're about to exponentially free mankind. And the UFOs exposed. So I'm Robert Stern Price, and I've been behind all that. I'm the man that originally got the 2004 Nimitz class incident exposed, in which I think Marco Rubio went to the Senate committee, or somebody in Congress, or committee in Congress, I think went to Marco Rubio, and Marco Rubio went to Dave Gress. I think they tried to poison me and kill me. But it's just toxin, but it's bad. It makes your face exfoliate and all that stuff. Toxin or something, I'm not really sure. But I was poisoned in my high school graduation for getting that started. It took this long, or that long, like 15 years or so, a long time before the pilots all came out and felt comfortable, and everything was so exposed that. But it's not the first time that the government tried to kill me. A long time ago. It's not the first time. So it's going. So I'm trying to start a starship industry, which is a $3 trillion startup IPO, which couldn't start out making $2 trillion a day. All right. And basically, I think it's going to probably maximize about $12 trillion a day once we free every living soul and give them this economic base of the miniaturized starship. And we'll have spacers, levitating tractor trailer drivers, and we'll have everything. We'll have hard mass particrafters. We got millions and millions of small towns. Instead of paying a power bill, you pay just rent on a hard mass levitated particrafter. That turns into regular electricity, which still regular electricians will have to work on, which is still completely freaking dangerous because it's not computer-controlled structured space fabric. This particrafter will go through the air, it'll levitate up, go through the air, land down on a pad near your small town or big city, and you'll just rent from the IPO electrical power, which the companies and stuff will have to change and stuff. Trying to find a place to sit because it's pain. And no place sitting here, and that's how the IPO will make money off of people by also employing people. So I believe that I felt from the Spirit of God that I was going to be capable of hiring 90 million people to build the miniaturized starship. There'll be 90 million freaking jobs for the starship industry, producing 100 to 300 million miniaturized starships a day. Computer structured space fabric factories. You might have to wear like a super suit, like a radioactive. They don't have those gun suits, but we're going to have to make like a super hazmat suit so you can walk into computer structured space fabric safely and correctly without manipulating the machine. But anyway, so we'll have 90. There's bugs all around that tree. 90 million people building the miniaturized starship. Possibly getting paid $20 an hour maximum, but I know some people need way more than that. So we'll have to figure out how to leverage the economy and all this stuff. Then we're gonna get 500 million international ore flyers. All right. So we take hard mass particrafers, all right, and we build massive, supermassive silos, and they go to space. They're levitated to space, and then we build We take the hard mass particle reactor, we take earth, we take rock, and we solidify it into a gigantic space silo, all right? And then, there's no light out here, it's a cloudy, rainy day. Who cares? And so now we get these hard mass particle reactors that produce exponential energy, and we either computer structure the space fabric, teleport this rock up. Few years, we got some massive honeycomb of solar system orbiting silos with vast multi-million cubic tons of ore material in there going to production. So we got it going. You got 500 million international volunteer ore flyers. All right, you're volunteer. Basically, you take your family, or if you want to have a team, that's so be it, whatever. But you're volunteer. Basically, you go out to another solar system that's desolate in this universe, and you start mining it. That does have no repercussions for doing teleportation mining. You fly over the ore that you find, and you suck it up, leaving it literally untouched. And basically, you go back and forth for the silo about every 8 hours. And you got 500 million people filling those, are releasing what they mined at least once a day. So they go 100 trillion times the speed of light. They can go to any other galaxy they want to, but they're mining for humanity. What is happening? What is happening is that you're taking this volume of ore, and now you have computer structure, space fabric, and hard mass, and all this stuff gets processed extremely fast. Full 8+ billion people are utilizing it. See, we get foam metal kettles and foam metal gigantic levitating steel foam metal sheet makers, and basically we 3D print through that computer structure space fabric like a foam metal a foot thick, and this goes into a house that's like a foot thick, 1,000-year standing house. It's like 4 times the size of American. Everybody on the planet literally gets up to an American standard of first world times a couple more. We're going to literally wipe out the third world economy and put everybody in the first world area. So we'll have big giant starships that can lift an entire warehouse or entire store up and take it somewhere, or we'll just build a flying warehouse. We put hard mass levitators in a big massive warehouse and it flies. Or just walk around. And then we emit forces through this space for all matter. It goes 100 trillion times the speed of light, and we got shield meters through the foam metal, and they eject the shield out in the computer structure space fabric, and it goes, the space fabric is warped, and this thing's running 100 trillion times the speed of light, possibly with no one in it, because just the building's not really made for habitation in space flight. But and then we got the whole economy exported where people need it, and this can move continually everywhere. And basically our job is to get this economy roaring, the total global human race in this economy and roaring. All right, I'm not going to ever worry about the mark of the beast and stuff like that, because what happens is people get settled on other Earth-like worlds, most likely, and then other nations, after you have 50,000 people on this particular settlement or planet, create a governor and create trading between these civilizations. And then that's possibly when the mark of the beast really comes out, where they have to make some kind of trading guild or something that no one understands right now we're just going to support free trading, and pretty much it might have to be like a space station, big space station between systems or something where free trading is actually accomplished and stable. So something like that. So plan A. All right, I'm getting way off track, but, or well, not really. I'm just describing to you what we're thinking here, what I'm thinking. All right, let me go somewhere else. So what actually happened? So the Main Rim Spacecraft supercomputer recently in the month energized enough non-powerful matter. So somehow is focused on like the planet Venus, all right? And then it pushed up from the bottom some hard mass and began to extrapolate what we're thinking is the extraterrestrial alien archive, a human alien archive, which apparently either has movies or videos of like Noah's flood or something. So Noah's flood probably happened, all right? We're thinking that some of these extraterrestrial humans might have went into planet Earth and created some secret societies, which are apparently not Christian because they've never been Christianized, but some they're pretty much, some are. So, you know, we don't have no, we can't confirm that right now. So, and one problem is that if they're more human, these secret societies might be oppressing the global economy to oppress people and control them. So they could be doing that. Or we just don't know, or that's just the natural cause of secret societies controlling stuff. So anyway, Project Coelacanth is what we're kind of dealing with. And, damn it, something calling my damn ear coming. Okay, so we think we found a cartoon that these extraterrestrial humans, well, there was a cartoon that they made, apparently, got made, about these people, all right? And, sorry. And so some of these people are in a cartoon, all right? They made this cartoon a long time ago, and you might have seen it when you were a child, but it's a form of prescience that pushed it into your brain. Basically, a supercomputer, all right, FTL hard mass computer, making it mechanical image insertion into your brain. It's not your natural ability. You're not telepathic. It's just a machine system. So some people say that there's places on Venus that they live at or something. I can't confirm that, but it'd take a lot of hard mass to live and basically go warp the entire spaceship of the soil, kind of like an extraterrestrial abduction, taking a child or somebody through the roof of the house, which has happened to me. But I got everything recorded on planet Earth. But now they take a lot of hard mass computer structured space fabric to get that accomplished, like go through the planet Venus where it's extremely hot, extremely a lot of non-powerful matter on top, extremely detrimental to get way down deep. But what I think is happening is that there's an extraterrestrial emission system projecting at this solar system, and the best place to read it is just the planet Venus. So the supercomputer is picking up an image of possibly Venus, all right? And then it pushes the space fabric up of hard mass and extrapolates what is supposed to be, probably is the extraterrestrial human alien archive. But we don't have the hard mass to digital binary code to store that information. So we don't exactly know what's going on. We have to make hard mass FTL drives to pull possibly zillions. And also, if we get the miniaturized Starship, we'll possibly go to other extraterrestrial archives and see what has happened over the eons. Because what is this all about? This universe is of old, all right? So we got multiple types of communication. You got prescience, where it's literally just pressing on the space fabric correctly to digitally, not digitally, but a digital-like communication, just the mechanical structure of the brain getting the information exactly to create an image. It's not that hard. But then you have the extraterrestrial. The old extraterrestrials figured it out a long time ago, the base world matter, and now they have a hard mass energizer. Basically, this hard mass energizer takes that prescient image and paints over it and re-energizes the forces that are not powerful enough to create an image. So when they first prescient image is just the characters in the black and white, a black background, but then the receiver, the guy receiving it, takes hard mass energizer and sprays it in a whole bunch of patterns to get these forces to come out of the background of the image. And yes, extraterrestrials invented TV before humanity did. Now, the first communication that I experienced was basically hard mass energizing the base world matter, and then supercomputer ripping apart just a little bit, and basically the aliens taking the load or the main effort, because the supercomputer's not capable to do it if it doesn't have actual components made to do it. It just energizes a massive component somewhere. It's super powerful. You got basically there's hard mass communication. Once one hard mass blob communicates to another blob, like those balls that go back and forth, and then you rip apart that base world matter, and you get teleportation forces coming through there, and then you're just digitizing that fast as that any supercomputer go to the trillionth scale of subatomic particle. And that's so when we ripped apart the space fabric the first time, and we switched to looking for extraterrestrial communication of yellow teleportation forces, that's basically going everywhere. So you got more than one way to communicate, and you got more than one way to detect it and look at it. It's insane. There's still more digital-like information than the entire history of the internet in outer space being communicated from ship to ship. So let's say that the CIA treats the United States government, buildings and stuff, like public property. So they spy on the government and they broadcast this all out. And if you're really smart, you can get to it. But they're all being spied on, they're all being exposed, and every spy skiff is not secure. So we know what they're actually looking at. We know what people are doing. And the CIA tried to steal the main Rift-based supercomputer from me and put every human on Earth on 100% lethal Rift-based plastic spygate, not knowing that they cannot control a supercomputer that's biologically encoded to me. Damn mosquitoes, should have used bug spray. And it's a crying shame that they literally just destroyed every government on Earth and made every currency worthless, and they're still getting away with it. And there's some fat-brained spy people the judges are trying to prosecute and stuff, but because they keep doing bad stuff and victimize people, and they will prosecute you for doing other stuff to other people in basically a virtual reality state. But let's go away from planet that crap we got to constantly deal with. And so, what else do I want to think about and blab about? So basically, we're right here on the precipice of UFO disclosure, total UFO disclosure. There have been interviews of real extraterrestrials by the CIA. There have been too many accounts, vehicles. So basically, a lot of spy satellites are turned out there, out in space, and there's like millions of extraterrestrial vehicles per square inch. Some look like human, and some are known to other people that have access, and they just kind of erase them or put a fake ship over them. And so they've got like 10 pages of falsified information to cover all this up in front of the main Rift-based supercomputer. so I don't literally codify into hard drive programming and expose it to the world, because they're basically just using my stolen property, 100% my property, not theirs. So they're all trying to hide it and use it. And they can't think of an advantage when an alien adversary watches every subatomic movement in the galaxy and literally has the advantage over every single human on planet Earth. So what the problem is, there is no global national security. One problem. The CIA implanted everybody on mind control, every child, and everybody can die in a single transplant because of what the CIA and the United States government did. And that is the sole justification of World War III against the United States. That is the sole, legitimate, only justification for World War III, based on mind control. I've been waiting 20 years to cuss out the United States Congress and accuse every single member of Congress in the United States government as a traitor. They don't want me to talk. They have people that know me really well, that know what they're doing to me, so they don't ever bring me in front of a fucking committee and expose me or have me actually. So they're negating my constitutional rights to actually accuse them and constantly stealing my property to deprive me of money and equity. The flow will move to money is equity. Yeah. So this is why it's so hard to start this shit. And it's so hard to deal with people that don't respect you and keep you a lid on you. But, you know, it's still a war for the freedom of mankind. It's not going to stop. And it's the greatest battle ever undertaken. The freedom of every living human on Earth. It's miniaturized starship. So what are we going to do? We're going to keep trying to build an IPO. We're going to structure this IPO of where it does not put debt on the nations. And this is why the IPO, another IPO, like thousands of millions of brand new IPOs, will take the Starship service and debt unto its own self and work indefinitely. Why the militaries of the world probably transform into missionaries, why the nations of the world probably go and fade away in this most softest, gentlest goose down pillow they have ever been in, and they fall asleep and they probably don't come back until people are realizing that it is better to have people that care about other people than people that don't care about other people. And that is the greatest, most noblest effort on planet Earth to date. In the meantime, the people are building the settlements and the places with miniaturized hard mass levitated Starship particle reactors, shield emitters inside the home and inside the Starship, and don't forget about that computer structured space fabric life support system operating to the trillionth the scale of the subatomic particle. I got to go fast because you can't hit the fucking brakes in space very well. Oh well, the Starship engine will be engineered to emit forces the other way to slow you down after 100 trillion times speed light. And you also have internal computer structured space fabric in the cabin. So the life support in a Starship will be able to teleport stuff out to the trillionth scale of subatomic particle. Forces, masses, subatomic drifts of non-particle matter creating cancer. Anything, we can literally shut down that virus because it all has a subatomic drift of non-particle matter through it. From the nucleus to the cell to the mitochondria, forces go through there. And we have seen a lot of it, so we know a lot. We are literally this close to curing a cure to every disease and ailment on Earth. It's the greatest revolution humanity will ever gaze upon. It's exponential freedom. See, where this came from. So I had the entire technological revolution stolen from me, literally 93, 94, and I had revelations of the subatomic revolution. But I was like, I don't know, a decade later, somewhere, plus or minus a lot of years, it's like I went through the veil of fire and I met Jesus Christ, and I was too scared to death to look at him. I was too scared, but this guy is nothing but love itself. He's made of love itself, and he gave me what I love and what I received to have an exponential subatomic revolution. It's like I was standing there and I was turned to the side because I was totally scared to death, actually, of a man like that. I was still terrified of Jesus Christ to this day. It's insane when you meet God. I've been in the spirit before many times. I've seen like a reef that goes inside of itself. It rotates inside, kinda, and that's basically the Heavenly Father, I think. I've seen through His fire of the past and all this stuff, but so I asked the Heavenly Father in Jesus' name to know the mysteries of God. He didn't really show mysteries of Himself, but I've seen like the people, tribes of Israel and stuff like that and stuff. And I'll have to go into depth and detail how I like actually seen that. But I'm building an exponential subatomic revolution. So right after that exposure to the archive, or exposure to their archive, which I think is correlated from secret societies to the occultic OA. You see that OA symbol? That means open archive. They were not Christianized, so they didn't understand, or people don't understand what these occultic secret societies are actually trying to worship or do. This OA, which looks like a pentagram to some people, but it may actually be open archive. Just that simple. They just got it wrong for so long and never understood its actual meaning. It just means open archive. And this is how we figured out how to access it a little bit. So we build the hard mass systems, the servers or the hard drive storage places, whatever, memory storage, FTL. We'll probably be able to get to that archive and bring it down where you can study it eventually in the future. But so you have secrets, you have extraterrestrial humans, some ingrained into humans. They know how to use precedents, and they start secret societies. We're not talking about the elites that eat children. No, we're not talking about them. We're not talking about the child sex trafficking by the United States government or any of that. We're talking about different secret societies and mysteries that we can't actually solve right now. Okay, well, I'm stopping right there on that shit. It's kind of complicated. And there's always more than one fucking secret society, but I don't want to be part of that. I'm man-made and blessed by God, so I want to stay away from that. And the whole human race faces the exponential freedom of mankind, the creation of the hard mass levitated miniaturized starship that can run 100 trillion times the speed of light safely and easily in space. The FDL videos, the physicists are completely wrong. They don't understand that the space fabric, when you put pressure on the space fabric or light, it will have a little bit of resistance, but you got to understand how to energize it. My knee hurts. Ow. And it has a surface tension. Like when you pull the space fabric, it'll pull. You got to figure out how to break that and just send energy to densify it and to separate that pull or that resistance to compression. How to utilize that in a I know I just charged my battery. So basically, all those FTL videos are completely fucking wrong. Completely freaking wrong. They have no idea what the base raw matter is actually doing, how it's actually creating light, how a blob of nonpolar matter decays and puts load on the subatomic particle, the electron, and it becomes equal, and it puts such a load on it that it switches places. It's really extremely simple. And how you can do that. God damn, there's more bugs down here. Being attacked by them. Crap. And so basically, we'll have a hard mass injection of batteries, and we'll control the decay of the ion correctly, and the blob of hard mass, and it'll bring in electrons. It'll self-charge the battery in the future. So we don't. But if you have hard mass energization, you don't really need a battery, unless you want to start it up again, or do something like a phone with a crank on it. But it'll last forever. That's pretty cool. So basically, what else did we talk about? What else is going to think that's important that you need to know? I don't know. So the straight lines in space, we don't know. So basically what we are imagining. Imagine a Stargate SG-1 team. Times that by like 100. If we get miniaturized starships and preliminary starships going, what times that Stargate SG-1 team, that scientific, military-like projection team, space, scientific, security, or projection team, times that by 100, using every special forces in the world. Got 100 different operations going simultaneously. We got hard mass levitator that also is a hard mass projector. And that, basically that hard mass levitator and that combined with hard mass projector is basically this supply drone. Put that in a supply drone. Now what a TIE fighter and an X-Wing from Star Wars, that vehicle, those two vehicles will probably use a slip base engine. We create hard mass, then we fracture it, and the forces go through it faster than light, hyperspeed. You got your hyperspeed, non-FDL, then you get to go through your FDL to 100 trillion times the speed of light if you want to get somewhere. But you got that. It's all coming, from Star Wars to Halo to basically a Halo armor suit. And it's got a droplet of hard mass in it, non-particle matter that's energized this way. As soon as this system is receiving and taking in data, somebody shoots a gun at you, the system will immediately send forces at hundreds of trillions times the speed out to that bullet and stop it from ever impacting you. It's coming. Hard mass particle reactors, like in Mass Effect. So I am the person who got him to make Mass Effect. I didn't get him to make the story. I just got him to literally expose the base world matter in the most controlled, form. I mean, I just got him to expose the base world matter in that game. That's basically what I did and what I require. I don't care how they make a story to a new game or anything or nothing, but all I want to do is just expose to the human race non-particle matter. Basically, that's what they did. They did a real good job of that. They made a real good set of games. Andromeda kind of sucks. They kind of lost their way in Andromeda Galaxy. I think that, yeah, it's kind of, everybody knows they played that. Knows what that's like. I don't need to go into that mess. So anyway, with real Starship engines, we should be able to go 100 trillion times the speed of light. So the main Ripley Sharp supercomputer a long time ago, before it was all corrupted by everybody else using AIs and stuff, got it up to 14 trillion times the speed of light. The calculations that make this force go through the space world matter at 14 trillion times the speed of light. It's extremely fast, the basic model, but we know we can go way over that. Now, like the Millennium Falcon, right? That's more like a componentized hard mass Starship engine. It shoots out the hard mass and it creates it, structures it, shoots it out into boxes, and then that force is going trillion times the speed of light through that rear aperture, that box at the rear. Now, a gigantic Connex container vessel. So we got a big, gigantic, super bay, big area. When we fill this entire bay with hard mass, then we got what these things are called kickers, all right? And they fracture this hard mass and put forces in it to give the main thrust of the vehicle. We got several thousand container ship, this big, giant, levitating container ship. That's how it fucking pulls off in outer space from ground and goes to the main supply depot on some other Earth-like world. We got it all. We got levitating hard mass particle reactors, we got shield emitters, we got everything. Now, since we discovered the base world matter, we could make it actually Star Wars-like shield generator. And basically, this energizes the base world matter and jacks it up, slings it up to orbit, and then we can shield a space station just like in Star Wars. What about Star Trek? We know the phasers on the USS Enterprise are light base, photonic phasers, whatever you want to call them. And the light is just forces rolling through the base world matter. But now we drill holes in the piece of metal as that light laser's going through, and we control each photon and make it a super dense, super controlled structure space fabric. It can be a lethal blast or a non-lethal blast and just push you away. So they'd have that kind of control, that trillionth of scale of subatomic particle in the Star Trek's phasers, or any type of laser gun. They might ban that. I mean, it's not made. Can't tell people. I'm just telling you how to dream every single thing through a revolution that Jesus Christ gave me in the spirit realm. Literally, it can come true. Got shield emitters, got trillions of dollars a day coming into your pocket if you support the subatomic revolution. It's insane. Trillions. Economies to build, people to free and liberate from the tyranny. This is the freedom from the tyranny of other people with the miniaturized star. The miniaturized starship is the key to everything. It's got all the basic assets we need for human survivability and prosperity in outer space. You come across extraterrestrials, probably should be nice to them. And we got it all. What about farming? So every person that gets a miniaturized starship will probably have to become a farmer. Just FYI, just so their own security. If something happens, they cut their seatbelt and it disables the vehicle or something by accident, like, oh shit, they got to live on that world or repair the seatbelt or learn how to turn it back on. And see, if you cut the seatbelts in a starship, it should disable the vehicle, because you got to be sitting in that seat before you can fly away with that thing. We're still in computer structure space fabric, and if you're going to bed, you can't leave it sitting on the slim that can break at any moment. We're going to have computer structure space fabric ovens for better cooking, and hard mass gravity floor LEDs that generate the base raw matter, this non-peripheral matter, and they exploit it into ultralight non-peripheral matter, and that basically makes artificial gravity, or the same thing as gravity, but it's called artificial gravity. So now we got computer structure space fabric in this vehicle going 100 trillion times speed of light, and humanity is all over the place. And you got a ripped space fabric, hard mass, dimensionalized, prescient form of communications. And it's everything. You got internet, you got TV, you got supply ships going FDL to your bases, colonies, location. It depends on how you want to take 20 people to another Earth-like world and try to stake it out. That's a good idea. And we have to probably supply sheriffs or judges or our governors with supplies and all that stuff. I mean, economy. Got 90 million people building the miniaturized starship, 500 million international voluntary ore flyers, 2.2 billion construction workers volunteer. We will guarantee them like a plot of land like the Roman army or something. So we'll barter with these construction workers. Either you get a building or a flying building, you go anywhere, each construction worker, or when we call a crewable starship, it'll have rooms for 20 people and jobs for 20 people. That's a crewable starship, and that's what you get for supporting the subatomic revolution. A crewable starship, or maybe a flying house or something like that, hard mass levitated house that you can call your own, and that's what you're basically working for. And then you will go out through the universe after, it could be 5 or 20 years. Every 20 years, you just retire. And you either get one of those things that's probably going to be made with more or less computer structure space, right? and that's the subatomic revolution. I don't tend to dream of like permanently hire people until they get to 65. No, I tend to like 15, 20 years of doing this job, doing everything you can fast as you can, getting this and moving on. We got 9 billion people. I mean, the population will probably rapidly expand because there's no limit on how many kids you can have, because you got unlimited amount of food out in the universe, unlimited amount of transportation or anything, economy, exponential income coming in. So the family is probably going to get pretty good as long as we make sure the food. So what about farming in general? Family farming may go out, but it may not. The subatomic revolution probably extends that they'll make computer structured space fabric, and they'll either solidify the earth or rock, make giant levitating platforms in space, like 100,000 square miles. And this will be computer structured space fabric that'll have soil, light, and water, and atmosphere, just like a halo ring. And it'll be a big gigantic field with food growing on it, or cows, or deer, or rabbits, sheep. And then that food gets taken and given to the subatomic revolutionaries, the people that are out there in space, and get some free food or whatever. So this food is going to be plentiful. Now we know the extraterrestrials that come here, they don't steal our food. The extraterrestrial scientists only take DNA or sperm and egg, and they do not take any food. They don't ever take any food. They come here, they show up invisibly and leave invisibly. We have no idea where the hell they go, but I think well, except that one group is going out of the galaxy, so we know they're flying out of the galaxy like it's nothing. We don't know if this is the head of a gigantic extraterrestrial war machine that we actually have to beat the race to outer space for, or what this could actually mean. So they've been doing this a long time. So what probably happened, they used a nuke, all right, tested nukes, and that sent teleportation forces to the alien empire. The alien empire registers those forces trillions of times the speed of light. I mean, teleportation forces are getting moved out at that speed. They detected every nuke blast, every nuclear reactor, and everything. The extraterrestrial empire sent extraterrestrial scientists. They studied planet Earth, and they started taking DNA samples and possibly slated it for invasion before human race gets too powerful. Who knows? And while they're taking DNA and building a museum or cultivating humans out of the way, we don't exactly know, and we'd really like to find out. We have no idea what the fuck they're doing. We have no idea what the higher powers of the space. The fourth and final beast before the fall of Satan is probably this extraterrestrial empire. Beast with iron teeth. And it'll probably come out of the sea, the Christian Sea people. When the Christian Sea people are out in space, it'll probably come out of there and go into perdition, basically just go to hell. Because what we're going to do is put humanity in discipline and civilization in every corner of the universe, and that's enough to throw any wicked man off his tracks. To say, hey, no, you cannot do that, because that's evil and it's barbaric and insane. So that could happen. So cause the angels of heaven to fall. I really think that Satan still has to fall. So you got the 4 smaller beasts, then the fall of Satan, and that's the third of the angels of heaven. That'd be the end before the time of the millennial reign of Jesus Christ. So anyway, we got a ways, but better get going building the Starship industry, freeing mankind, dealing with highly advanced things, making people more intelligent, be able to machine and manipulate this matter to exploit the base raw matter and energize and densify it, and plastic, water, metal, whatever. It'd be cool. Yeah, we're trying to build the miniaturized starship before they can put computer structures based over the whole planet. In every major city and town, you wouldn't be able to shoot anybody. They couldn't send artillery or missiles. And that is what possibly starts the War of Ezekiel. And that's probably what it is, because no one's afraid of the nation of Israel or the future nation of Israel that we're actually making. The birth of, I believe this is more or less the real birth of the real nation of Israel. Because they don't understand how the world's going to change. And that old time is going away. There'll be plenty of safe places in the universe to stay. And the same knowledge of God's of the comic book headings ripped up again to explain it once more after the annihilation of the war. Yeah, not being annihilated, but they're still. So, another problem, the logical grid square of an alien empire. So, I'm going to title this video, The Universe of Old. That this universe has been at war. These alien nations have been at war so long, they figured out how to wage war in space. Basically, the logic can only be based off the truth. The truth is the only thing that can be the foundation of logic. Like, the truth is reality, and reality is the truth, and extraterrestrial absolute, which we did spied on them. The logical grid square of the alien empire is possibly like 2.2 trillion light years across. Alright, so that means if we build a battle fleet there and they go to attack that alien empire's artillery, that's 2.2 trillion light years away. They can smack you in the forehead that far away. It's extremely, extremely difficult to attack the alien empire. When they seeded the universe with artillery bigger than the planet, and it shoots trillions of light years away, and you see this yellow teleportation blob go across the screen trillions of light years away using ripped space route windows and detection. Super systems, which we haven't even designed into human-made vehicles yet. There's some alien vehicles do have teleportation windows that see teleportation forces only. We've seen that through the Ripley Sarah telescope. And these vehicles are more or less, you'd probably call the entourage of the, or I don't know, you can pronounce that more correctly and precisely, of the vanguard of the epitome of that alien empire. I'd have to find more poetic way of saying that statement, and not today. Out for an hour. So you have all these other alien races, extraterrestrial pilots, ships on patrol, millions of ships. Like when the James Webb Space Telescope came out, well, a little bit before that, the Ripley Sarah Plastic Spy Gear. Well, it came out a long time before that, and it was watching NASA people obfuscate UFOs from satellite pictures and stuff. Now there's rip-based fabric, supercomputing, and all that stuff. Meanwhile, so we've seen some pictures that have been possibly taken by the James Webb Space Telescope, and one of them was like a big giant bar of soap. It was incredible. It was blue and white. Now I know, since I had contacts from the CIA, the spy handler said those big ships out there are made of cobalt steel. They must have radio astronomy to confirm that they're made of cobalt steel. And I mean, that was like 20 years before James Webb's telescope came out. And then the James Webb Space Telescope seen this fucking bar of soap on some kind of platform or ship or something. And it's either solid oxygen, that's black, it could be just rock and cobalt steel somehow in a super platform being going to be processed. We don't know how deep they have to mine that stuff, crack the whole planet open to get it or what. We don't know what the hell. But that alien empire is fucking powerful, and it's still alive. We have never seen an alien empire. We have never seen an empire on Earth that is actually worth its salt. we've never seen a civilization that powerful, and with hindsight now. So what, okay, let's talk about something. Immaculate Constellation. So one day, I think last year in the spring, so I'd been in Rip-Based Fabric Technologies, and I got on Rip-Based Supercomputer and started it. So I woke up one day and tried to operate the main Rip-Based Supercomputer and see if I could see some Rip-Based Fabric stuff. But I caught, it's kind of when this UFO stuff started going, I caught, maybe last year or the year before, I caught the United States Congress, right, using a bit of my Rip-Based Fabric code. So what apparently happened is the government, the military, the CIA, they stole a section of my code, Rip-Based Fabric code, and started using it, trying to make it work, which it didn't really make it work. So, when I turn on the main Rip-Based Fabric Supercomputer at full capability and look for all my code, it automatically connects. So I seen what they seen. So I know I was going to sue the United States Congress for a couple $2 billion just over this incident. But, all right, they zoomed into a star constellation but they stole my property to do it. So it's my fucking story, and I can do it. And I still sue them for treason and stealing my property. The United States Congress could just pay me $1 million a fucking year, and I'll happily operate the Rip-Based Supercomputer for their eyes only. I'm not under NDA, but they are stealing my property that I own, and they're all trying to hide it. So what happens is they zoom into a star constellation. They got it connected to Rip-Based Fabric code, which is not actually working, but so they zoom in farther to the star constellation, and it turns out a platform with a tower, right? This tower is huge, gigantic, but it's got bright lights on it, and there's this building on this platform, gigantic building. It looks like it's a garage door, and I made a joke. That door must be 14 miles high or something. I was just joking, but it's all been exposed. Anyway, it's not exposed, but they've all heard it in the CIA. They're always spying illegally on everybody. So what apparently happened, the congressman got wind of it, and they made it public, and that is where Immaculate Constellation actually possibly comes from. See, I heard the name in his office of what the name, and that guy, the AKA document writer of Immaculate Constellation, I'm pretty sure that guy, this guy that just wrote down what that operation was. They're looking at a star constellation that wasn't a star constellation. It's just a gigantic platform with a building and a tower on it out in space. These things exist. You don't know if they're dead or alive because you just have to energize space raw matter doing it. And now that's where it actually comes from. It comes from me cussing them out and exposing it and saying, oh, it's all exposed. Rob heard about it. Yeah. Well, I own that shit. Why don't you just let me sell it to you properly instead of letting you steal my fucking code from me? Let me run it in super systems that I'll have to make instead of just steal it piece by piece and not really having functioning. And it's just a joke. Our United States government is just a fucking paper tiger joke. It's all constantly breaking the law, constantly fucking doing stuff illegally, and just not working. I'll work for $1 million a year operating Rip-Based Supercomputers, but if I get built, and I'll probably just make more stuff public. Because I own this. I own it all. I own all the entire September Revolution right now till I get factories sold to other people and computer systems sold to other people in the public. What is this for? So they're looking at these star constellations that are not star constellations. They're massive extraterrestrial facilities and structures that they know about. They the freedom of mankind. Stay away from the fucking artillery. So what's happening in this place? There's a gigantic war out there. Aliens probably kill a trillion beings every 30 minutes. And the alien scientists are coming, cultivating DNA samples from Earth, taking that to another galaxy. This war machine can be turned on planet Earth. And that's why we're freeing mankind. That's why we're exposing pedophile elites. That's why we're exposing UFOs against the United States government to expose this stuff. And this is the big picture of what's going on, but not the big sky picture of what's really going on out there. That'll drop your jaw. Now, I cannot prefer military having sex with extraterrestrials or nothing like that. They know about instances. I know congressmen, they've had sex with alien corpses and stuff that they've seen and looked at. I can't get that out of my mind. Everybody knows who I am. Let me see. So I got that Immaculate Constellation, suppose, kind of more or less better. And so this building is apparently in a Star Wars movie. It looks just like the one in the Star Wars movie. In one of the Star Wars movies. Long cylindrical tower. But this cylindrical tower is on a platform in space with lights kind of around it and on top of it with another building. So it's not depicted like it is in the actual telescope imagery. But it is in the movie. So they've seen it before and they got it out to Hollywood and Star Wars. It's not exactly top secret. You just need to know where you've seen it before. It's in a Star Wars movie. But there's a real one out in space. It's fucking incredible. So we don't know. Some of these things may have super apertures bigger than planet Earth. Either they're bays for vehicles to come in and out of them, or they're giant weapon apertures, big holes for cannons to come shooting energy out. We live in a universe teeming with life. There's unlimited amounts of extraterrestrials. And we're just so finite. Our governments want to keep control over this, thinking that if they lose control over this, they lose control of the human race and they won't have control over the future. That's totally bullshit. Because there are more good people on Earth willing to do the right thing for mankind to the ultimate sacrifice, like in the Clint Eastwood movie. I mean, then you can count. And we don't want people to actually be expended like that. What we want is just freedom, exponential energy, the ability to write and colonize, and all those wonderful things that life holds. And we'll find enough people to be fucking heroes. So we gotta expose this, get it out eventually. And I don't edit jack shit. I'll have to have a team or something to make. So we'll see if I can crowdfund some money for illustrations for the Starship industry and how this IPO gets some basic illustrations going and people to draw them. And then, this fucking talk forever. And then get the basic structure IPO, get the money to go and get people hired to start managing future companies and stuff and looking for production size. So we're trying to do everything. Try to work hard and fast as possible to get the miniaturized Starship off the ground, get 4 or 5 preliminary vehicles into construction, hard mass LEDs, hard mass levitators, computer construction, space fabric injection engines, or computer controlled teleportations, computer controlled particle projection teleportation Starship engines, full power going, hard mass LEDs for gravity floor, shield emissions, hard mass rectifiers, dimensionalized communications, space fabric communications, presence communication. Oh God, millions of components, millions of types of 3D printed landing gear. Fucking who the hell gives a shit? It's way too damn many. It's a lot. We got a lot of drawers, drafters. Foam metal is where we put the secondary shield, So we have a hard, if this is a thick piece of metal, we teleport the middle out of it, create a foam section, and use it as a reservoir for hard mass. This hard mass, if it's not computer structured, it will just atomize like antimatter the damn stuff and fuck everything up. We got to be better than the aliens that are right now. This is the first time humanity's ever done something like this. So we take that big block of metal, teleport out, make a foam structure with hard mass energizers, controllers, put the reserve densified nonpolar matter in it. And basically that's a storage tank for the overall system of what we're building. From landing gear shields to particle reactor reservoirs to instant startup. Oh, it's just millions and millions and millions and millions of components. Millions and millions and millions of jobs. Tasks. I think we could possibly pay people $1 million a year to get this up and going. If you go into space, you'll get $1 million a year for sure. As the vehicle starts working, they'll put GPS satellites around Mars. Our hard mass teleportation communicates. Go explore the solar systems. Go to Alpha Centauri. Look for alien civilizations. Building galactic orbiting faster than light satellites for galactic mapping and all that shit. It's not, but this will all be public. We will not hide anything. The future of the world is coming, and it's like a soccer ball kicked to the stomach of the nations of the world. It's taking their breath away. Because we got a mighty wind. The wind's still blowing. And it's really, really blowing. Really hard. And it takes your breath away. It's like knock the wind out of the nations of the earth. Kicking them with a soccer ball. I think it's funny. It's real funny. Yeah. I just kind of like to somebody else to smear them with shit in the face or mud in the eye. No, but you can't do it too mean. But we're gonna be free. Alright. Just aimlessly, whatever. Have a wonderful weekend.